What is going on, everybody? Beach Bomber Fishing here with a very special video for you guys. One of the most requested questions and most asked questions on my channel is, what kind of gear are you using to surf fish? Right now being the 2nd of October, the bull reds are about to start running. Some people are already calling the bull red run. I don't think so yet, but one of the most important things about the run is being prepared, which means you gotta have the right gear when you're surf fishing for bull reds. So today's video, I'm gonna talk to you about some of the gear that I use when I'm surf fishing, jetty fishing, and pier fishing, and how I set up my rigs to cast far distances when sometimes these fish are out of reach. Having the right gear is extremely important to your success, so I'm gonna show you how to be elite the next time you go fishing. Check it out, y'all. Alright, one of the most important aspects of surf fishing is that you have the right gear. So I'm going to show you the reel that I really like to use right now. This is the Okuma Surf 8K. Check this out. This thing is a tank. This reel here with the elongated spool is going to allow you to cast really far distances, especially over any regular spinning reel. The Surf 8K here holds 710 yards of 50-pound braid. You can stop anything with this. Anything. I've had this for a year. For 120 bucks, this is a really good value right here. I've had this for a year. I've dropped it in the water. I've had it at the jetty. It's gotten splashed, caught big fish. Not a single issue with it. It still looks good. But what I want to say is that for distance, this elongated spool is going to be the key to getting way into the breaker's second gut. Here is taller, which allows the line to go off much more smoother than your traditional spool. This is going to be important here when you're casting out at the beach, also in the jetty, because at the jetty you have to make sure that your line and your bait is going way past the bottom, because when you're reeling in, you don't want to get snagged. You know how many leaders are down there because we didn't cast far enough from shore, from the jetty. If you cast really hard, give it a nice pitch back cast, had it what they call a hatteras cast, or even off the ground cast, you should at least get 60 to 70 yards away from the jetty rocks from the bottom. That is going to prevent from you from getting stuck. But here's the Surf 8K long spool. This is the perfect bull red reel right here. Now on the Okuma Surf 8K, this is a much bigger reel with much more capacity. I have this put on the Okuma Rockaway HD 12 feet. This here can cast up to a pound. This is a heavy duty stick right here. This thing, you can catch anything. I mean, I've loaded this down to like 14 ounces and I've got a nice off the ground cast, just woof. And the rod has a really nice arc. It looks like it's gonna break. It looks like it, but it doesn't. It feels so well loaded when you load it with over 10 ounces. This here is gonna get you the distance when you wanna cast out those gigantic mullets, big shad. This combo here is going to do it for you. And if you're drone fishing, you can actually fly this out 300, 400 yards and hopefully get something big out there way behind the third sandbar. But this is the Okuma Surf 8K loaded with 50-pound braid, 30-pound shock leader, Okuma Rockaway HD 12 feet. This here is a beast stick. You can land anything with it. Next up, this is the Okuma Flight 12,000. This is a brand new unreleased reel. It hasn't been released yet, but I can't wait till they release it because I need another one. This is a prototype. I'm probably the only one that has this right now. But this here, one of the big improvements over this Flight here is that when you're reeling in, there is no spool wobble. That is the problem with a lot of the long cast reels, is because the spool is so tall, the spool will start to wobble with a load, especially when you're reeling in big fish or big weights. Sometimes I've been in the surf and I have a 8-ounce weight, and trying to reel it in can be a pain, and you can see that the spool is working really hard, and so is the spool shaft. So with this Flight, this has been improved. It no longer does that, which I can't wait for this to come out. But here, this thing has a whopping 33 pounds of drag. Check out the long spool right here. This is perfect for surf fishing. Like I said, I prefer the long spools when it comes to spinning reels because it allows you to cast further. I have the Okuma Flight paired with an Okuma Solaris. This is the 11-foot, 3 to 8 ounces. I've landed big fish with this rod right here. This rod here has hella backbone. This can land anything, guaranteed. I've landed a lot of bull reds, big drum, sharks up to 5 feet with this combo right here. This rod here is a tank. Great rod for the price, $110. This rod here can do it all. This is one of the best budget rods you can get because it has all the good components. Now it has C guides. That's a really high-end guide right here. And also it has a Fuji reel. A lot of budget rods no longer come with quality components, but the Solaris does. Check it out, y'all. Another accessory that I use to get long, powerful cast is, check this out, y'all. This is a casting cannon. This thing is an extremely important tool for a spinning reel. So like that, you can load max weight, cast far without it digging into your finger. I've seen a lot of people really hurt their finger, and so have I. I have a lot of cuts down my fingers from not using the correct stuff. This here is gonna give you the confidence to cast harder, further, heavier weights with this here. This is the breakaway cannon, my favorite accessory to date to use for surf fishing. This is gonna help you out a lot when you're casting here. If you're gonna get the cannon, do not get the cheap ones from Amazon. They will rust on you. You have to get the OG. This is the breakaway. So I have this set up here. I have it on the Solaris. I have 2 zip ties on here. It ain't going anywhere. This thing is on there tight. You can barely push it here. But this here, very important accessory. The next tip that I can give you when it comes to spinning reels, when you're casting these, have shock leader. The thinnest you can get away with. Here I have 30-pound shock leader. And I don't like to use more than 30 pounds. I used to use 50 pounds, but then it was affecting the casting. You could hear those knots going through the guides. So ever since then, the max I've used as a shock leader has been 30 pounds. 30 pounds is more than enough to land anything. I landed a 6'5" spinner shark from the pier 3 weeks ago on 30-pound mono. Easy, very easy. But this here, what's good about it is that when you cast it out, you're gonna go into the surf. The surf is really abrasive. So this here, the mono is much thicker than a braid. It's much more abrasion resistant. So it's gonna reduce your chances of getting breakoffs. Plus, if you get a shark, this is gonna last longer than the braid because the tail is gonna whip you and it's gonna cut you. Easy. This is how I have my spinning reel setup right here. Give it a rundown. Okuma Flight 12,000, 30-pound black mono, 30-pound shock leader, breakaway cannon, 11-foot Okuma Solaris. This here is the ultimate bull red combo, whether you're fishing the surf, the pier, the jetty. This here is gonna get the job done. All right, don't worry guys, I didn't forget about conventional. I know a lot of people say they miss you fishing conventional, but here we go. One of the most important things that you should add to your surf fishing arsenal is a magged conventional reel. Conventional reels are very intimidating. You can't just pick up a conventional reel, cast it out and be like, oh, I just cast it 100 yards. No, you can't do that. They require practice. These reels here are very intimidating, especially to a new user. We practice, but we also get a magged reel. This is the Okuma Cortez 12. They're smaller ones, there's the 5 and the 10. But in Texas, we like to use big conventionals. We like to go overkill always. Anyways, it's a joke, don't get offended. So this here has a magnetic adjustment track here. You can adjust it to your style. Check it out. It has nice tactile response to it. Listen. See that? That's mid, and it goes from minimum to max. But this here is gonna allow you to cast your baits as hard as possible. It's gonna give you the confidence. I made a video about 5 years ago when I first started my channel on why mag reels should be in your arsenal. Unfortunately, mag reels are expensive, they're hard to come by. This here, for $170, you can get a nice big conventional reel that has 18 pounds of drag. This reel here, for $170, depending on where you get it from, this here is the ultimate budget and casting reel that is magged. There is no other reel that you can get that is magged for that price range. Check it out, y'all, right here, Okuma Cortez. There's other reels, but mag reels are expensive. You can get one magged, but it's gonna take time, it's gonna take a lot of effort, and it's expensive too. So if you wanna get one that's off the shelf, magged, looking to get the Okuma Cortez here, this here has 300 yards of 30-pound mono. If you got braid, you can probably add like 600 yards of 50-pound braid on here, but I'm using mono here. This has 18 pounds of drag, and one of my other favorite things about this reel here is that it has a super loud clicker. Check it out, listen. That is loud. you can hear that from anywhere. That's also very important, because if you're out at the beach, the breakers are loud. This here, you can hear it. But look, let me show you how much of a difference the magnet makes. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is take the clicker off real quick. I'm gonna set the setting to off. It has a black line, I don't know if you can see it. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna spin, all right? Check it out. It spins for a while. Let's put the setting on halfway. You see how it slows down pretty quickly? Put it on max, check it out. It barely spins. It spins enough to get acceleration, but it doesn't spin that long because the magnet is on the spool. That means that it's gonna stop a bird's nest. Okuma Cortez here, very good reel here. I can't wait to catch some big bull reds on it. Look at that, beautiful reel. Love it, love the colors too. Besides that here, the Okuma Cortez has everything you need in a conventional reel. Magnet, loud clicker, nice capacity, looks good at a great price. To have a better grip on the spool and to allow the spool not to slip under me, I like to add a rubber tube in here. Right in there. I'll have to make a tutorial on how to do this later on, or actually I might add it on in a little bit. This here is gonna allow you to grip the spool much tighter, just like this. You have it on there. It's gonna allow you to grip it, which is gonna give you more confidence when you're casting. And then also, if you see that you might get a burst nest, you can tip it off slowly to prevent the overrun. But this here is gonna save your finger, because let's be honest, if you are casting this really hard, the spool is spinning really fast. What's gonna happen is if you have to tap it, you're gonna burn your thumb. Why do that when you can just prevent it by getting, it's such a simple little step. Getting this little rubber thing here, the tube is gonna prevent you from getting a burst nest. It's gonna help your thumb, and it's gonna allow you to help you grip your spool. But that's the most important part, is the spool gripping, because if you're on the surf, your hands are wet, they're soft, you might get all pruny, which means that your skin's gonna be all soft. If you have to cast, especially if you're using a shock leader, your spool might spin, might slip from under you. This here, you're gonna grip it, it's not gonna happen. If you're casting hard and the spool slips from under you, you're gonna lose distance. You might even get a burst nest, or you might even get a break off from the burst nest. With this here, it's always gonna be attached to the bottom of your reel seat here. You don't have to, you're not gonna forget it like a glove. Just simple little addition, $10. You get a whole roll of it on at eBay, Amazon, Home Depot. This is gonna save your finger, give you casting distance, simple stuff. All right, so here goes the second part of the tutorial. I'm gonna teach you how to attach this rubber tubing on your conventional reel. You can get this stuff at Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon sells it. I like to get it from Amazon because they have my favorite color, the black one. So what we're gonna do now is pretty simple stuff. We're gonna get your piece of rubber, and we're gonna cut it about like half an inch in like this. See, now we got a nice cut there. We're gonna do that, and then you're gonna have to wet the inside. Get you some water, dip it in water. And here's where people mess up at. Most of the time when I try to explain how to do this to people, what they do is they attach this upside down. So what you have to do is, rather than attaching it upside down like this, and when I say upside down is because if you put the rubber tubing facing up, what's gonna happen is that this is gonna go under, and then when you put your reel seat, it's gonna bend over, and it's gonna bend on your reel seat, which is gonna have your reel seat really tight, or you might not even be able to slide the reel foot on the reel seat. So what we're gonna do is, you get the part that's slit, you face it down and insert it that way. Check it out. So this is how we do it. That's it. Look at that, simple. Now you can grip your spool with it right there, just like that. That's it. Very simple, to the point video on the stuff that you're gonna need for the bull red run. Actually, just surf fishing in general. It's October 2nd right now. The bull reds are starting to show up in heavy. People are gonna start going to the surf, the piers. So I figured I'd make this quick video on how to help you guys be elite. Show you some of the stuff that I use, the way that I rig. And if you have any more questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as much as I can. And if you have any other video ideas, I am doing YouTube full time now. I used to work and do YouTube part time, but now I'm doing this full time. So if you have any video ideas you want to let me know in the comments, go ahead and put them down there. If you have a better method to do things, let me know in the comment, and I'll read it If I like it and I see that it's helpful, I might even take up on it myself. All right, so thanks for watching, y'all. Stay elite.